What's up, guys? Andy here. Now, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. So take a minute, sit right there, and I'm going to tell you how I became a pescatarian, or at least temporarily was a pescatarian, okay? So look, first thing you guys need to know, if you don't already, is that I've written a number of books, okay? Now, also, you'll notice I'm standing up today because I realized that years ago I made a YouTube channel where I was standing, and I kind of like the dynamic, so I'm going to try and replicate it, and let's see how this goes. So anyway, back to the books. So I've written 9 books, okay, and one day my publisher rather came to me with an offer to write a pescatarian cookbook. Now at the time, I wasn't a pescatarian, and really, I needed to be in order to write that book from the correct perspective and from a genuine perspective. I mean, not technically speaking, because you can still share science and insight, but it adds much more value. So in that moment, I had two options, dabble in pescatarianism or just be dishonest about my pescatarian status. So I opted for the honest approach, and I decided to give pescatarianism a try. Now, for myself personally, I like all the foods that one could eat to become a vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian. I like tofu. I like all sorts of legumes. I enjoy, obviously, fish, white fish, pink fish. I enjoy seafood. I like eggs. So in terms of getting protein and sufficient nutrients, that was never really going to be a challenge for me, okay? Now, for myself personally, like I advise a lot of vegan, vegetarian, and pescatarian clients, and I help them optimize their dietary pattern. Myself personally, like I don't see myself going completely meatless. I would save that for the nuns rather than myself. But I have the utmost respect for people, from the environmental, ethical, or otherwise perspective who pursue those styles of eating. And like I said, I help them all the time. So, kudos to you guys, because then there's sacrifice involved in that, let's be honest. So anyway, I wrote this pescatarian cookbook. I lived as a pescatarian essentially. I mean, it sounds a bit dramatic to say, but I lived as a pescatarian for 2 years. And for the reasons I mentioned, it didn't really affect me that much. You know what I mean? It was all good. I didn't really miss chicken or beef. Eventually what happened is, in terms of, family time, going out, just general convenience, I'm now like a 95% pescatarian essentially. But the experience was great. It was certainly interesting. It was certainly challenging. And yeah, I mean, if anyone out there at the very least is inclined to, dabble in the style of eating, it's definitely doable if you have the tools at your disposal. What I will say as well is, for general dietary guidance, like what I'll tell my clients is like, you don't need to be a pescatarian or vegetarian or vegan. You don't need to give yourself any label, okay? But what you should be aware of is that eating more like people in these food groups theoretically is good for your health, because my stance is as follows: is that diversity in protein intake, as in not just chicken and beef, and again, nothing wrong with eating chicken and beef, if you do, all good, right? But diversity, like, are you getting nuts and seeds? Are you getting legumes? Are you getting fish? There's so many unique nutrients in these foods, and obviously these are the foods that a well-planned vegetarian or pescatarian is going to be dabbling into, right? So diversity in protein intake is facilitated by eating more like a pescatarian, but you don't need to be one, okay? So those are my thoughts on the subject matter, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, found it a little bit insightful. If you are a, pescatarian, vegan, vegetarian, or considering, moving into that lifestyle and you need the support of a healthcare professional, well, you know who to call. Have a good day.